Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Kraus.
Hello there. How are you? I'm doing okay. Hope you're doing okay. I'm doing okay. How are you doing, Ian?
I'm doing just fine. In fact, I'm excited because this is a big week for the BumbleKast.
Yes, it is. It is coming up here very soon this week, and yeah. Tell the people why and what we're doing for it.
Well, first off, on this episode, if you're listening to it on Monday, you can go over to the Bumble Comic Shop and get an extra 20% off your order by using the code BIRTHDAY2021. Why? Because it's my birthday, and I'm getting you the gift of a discount.
Ooh, birthday. Happy birthday, Ian.
Thank you so much. This discount stacks with the current discount going on, which is May 4, that's MAY number 4, which was supposed to be space themed this month. So you can get 30% off if you put it all together. And patrons, your coupon never expires. So if you put it all together, you could be getting 40% off your order today. And if you just skipped to the Q&A and missed out on all this, well, whose fault is that? Really? Really? Number 2, we've got a special guest episode coming up on Wednesday with Sonic fan Mighty Ray. We also have another guest episode coming up after that, not during the week, but we've had a lot of special guest episodes recently, and that's cool. Yes. I like that. But next one's coming up on Wednesday to make this just one big BumbleKast week. And then this Saturday is our 50th Q&A episode. Not counting all the old numbered ones, we put that to bed. The 50th episode since we started the Q&A focus version of the BumbleKast. So we're doing something special. And no, it is not 50 questions in a row because that would literally kill me. I don't think Kyle would be able to edit a show because there would be no show to edit because I would die. That's a lot of questions. Instead, it's going to be a live session of the BumbleKast. Head over to youtube.com/BumbleKing videos and make sure that you're there 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and join us in the chat. Ask your questions. And, provided we have time, we'll burn through as many as we can. We're still going to do priority Q&A at the start because, that's what they pay for. But once we get through that, we're going to get through as many questions as we can in the allotted time in real time. You can listen to me stutter and flub my lines without any of the post-processing. And if you miss out, well, don't worry. We're going to put that episode up for the following Monday. So you'll still get to hear the answers. It's still going to be an episode. You just miss out on the whole live thing. But that's what we got. Big birthday coupon today, here on Monday. A special guest episode on Wednesday. And a live episode June 5th, this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes. To clarify, we are recording this publicly. So if you're in the chat, you stand a good chance of getting your question answered on the same day you ask it. So you want to be there. You will want to be there. So it's a big special thing. Number 50. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited, Ian. Are you excited?
I am very excited, especially because we have some priority Q&A waiting for us right now.
Ooh. Well, before we do that, shall we cover the rules and how to ask questions real quick?
I suppose. If you want your question answered on the show, email us at BumbleKast@yahoo.com. Tweet to us at BumbleKast. Comment on any of the YouTube videos. If you're a patron, please ask it over in the Ask a Q&A channel over on the Discord. If you want your question answered sooner rather than later, become a $5 patron over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, or send us $6, that's 2 coffees, at coffee.com, kofi.com/BumbleKast. Be sure to include your name and your question. And also make sure to check out the Q&A master list over at bumbleking.com/BumbleKast to make sure that we haven't already answered your question within the recent past.
Alrighty. Without further ado, let's go into the priority Q&A, starting off with Speedweed. Given the recent discussion of a Worlds Collide scenario between Mario and Sonic, how would you feel about a Metroid-Sonic crossover? Given the variety of antagonists that are in Metroid, Ridley, Mother Brain, and the Space Pirates, Dark Samus and Phazon, the saxophone in the X-Parasites, the variety of hunters from Metroid Prime hunters, and even Metroids to an extent. How could they play into this scenario? Would the emeralds be corrupted by the invasive mutagenic mineral Phazon? Would we see space pirates being reprimanded for feeding Chow pet treats that definitely do not agree with their digestive system? Would it just evolve into a battle royale for the Chaos Emeralds and the Master Emerald? Really, what would you think would be interesting in this crossover if you were to write it?
I'm going to caution you there, Speedweed, because that comes real close to a fan idea.
Yes, but
listing off proper characters within a property, that's fine. But saying, wouldn't it be neat if this actual plot point happened? That's where we got to draw the line. Because if such a thing were to happen, we're recording it now. I wouldn't be able to do that. You've already suggested the idea. It was unsolicited. You could raise a stink over, having stolen your intellectual property. I know you wouldn't. You're good people, Speedweed. But that's the kind of scenario we got to avoid. So in the future, Speedweed and everyone listening, don't be so precise with these types of questions. It only serves to make me go on this long, rambling disclaimer thing, and nobody likes that. It's tiresome. I sound paranoid. I'm not paranoid. Who said I was paranoid? Did you?
I did.
I knew it.
Yep. It's true.
Anyway, I don't know if you could really do a satisfying Metroid-Sonic crossover, because I think they're tonally dissonant. Metroid is a little bit of horror. It's a little bit of loneliness and desperation. Sure, it's sci-fi, but it's a different flavor of sci-fi than Sonic. And while it's certainly big and bombastic in its parts, it isn't quite the same level as, or the same kind of bombastic that Sonic typically is. You could maybe find a middle ground if we were looking more like Shadow the Hedgehog's specific game, because there you have lots of gooey alien murder. But even then, one of the detractions from Shadow was that it was super off-brand. Like, it tried to have its cake and eat it too. It tried to be a Sonic-type game, but with this grim and violent alien setting, and just not so good. Doesn't really mesh. So I don't really know if you could do that. You could maybe play it for laughs. Go more lighthearted, have a Chow snuggle a Metroid and suddenly develop horrible pincer faces, but they still want to give you hugs that actually murder you. Have some fun play with that. Have Sonic bopping space pirates, have the space pirates looking for Chaos Emeralds because they're always after the next power source. There's one emerald in a container in a darkened room and you go for it, except then Ridley materializes and steals it Super Metroid style. Maybe something with Gemerald and Samus combining their powers into the Gemerald suit. You can have some fun with it, but it would have to be very lighthearted and colorful for Metroid. And if you went more Metroid, I just don't really see it working with most of the Sonic cast. You could maybe throw Team Dark in there and go for something more Shadow the Hedgehog-esque. Remove it from your typical Sonic setting. Or go with something that isn't your run-of-the-mill Sonic-type character. Throw in Gemerald, Omega, Chaos Gamma. Just for something that's a little less upbeat and personable. That might work a little better, but of all the crossover property possibilities, I don't see that one working out as easily as so many others.
Yeah, it's definitely, there would definitely be some tonal dissonance there, but I mean, there's certainly options, certainly possibilities, like you mentioned, so it's not like it's completely off the table. Necessarily. I mean,
somebody could figure out a way to make it work. I am not the end all, be all, know all. It's just some people think I am. That's rather flattering. That's why we have a show.
Well, you look at like Smash Brothers Brawl and how you paired up Pikachu with Samus. That worked out. That worked out pretty well. That was obviously it was tonally different. from actual Metroid. So
Almost Gen 1 Pokemon.
Yeah, in a way.
That, and you don't really get into a lot of the Metroid tropes in Brawl.
No.
Like, yes, you have Samus. Yes, you have a space base. Yes, you have mad science, what with Pikachu being zapped and whatnot. But you don't have quite the sense of loneliness and isolation that Metroid has.
Right.
It's Samus comes in and rescues the cute animal and they escape before the base blows up. That's the end of Super Metroid. That's the big, bombastic, hopeful ending. That's not the entire solo campaign getting there, you know?
Right. You would have to, you'd have to compromise Metroid in some way, I think. So.
With Brawl and Subspace Emissary, Samus was used fine within that story, but that was Samus's character. It wasn't really a Metroid crossover type of thing.
True.
If you'd get me.
True. Yes, I do. It makes sense. But, I mean, she works well crossing over with cute animal, fuzzy animal characters, though. So,
sure.
There's something there. There's something there. You can work.
Maybe I am overthinking it. Like, if she's, chasing Ridley and just happens to wind up on Sonic Nameless Planet number 3, and it's just the characters there, that might work a little better than trying to find a full thematic tonal merger. But I don't know.
We can try. Something like that. Next question is from Diane W. Sally Acorn and Amy Rose are the perfect BFFs. Do you agree or disagree?
I'm going to be a traditionalist and say Sally and Bunny before Sally and Amy, but they certainly are in a close second place.
Sure. Yeah. They're fun. They're good together.
Amy's superpower is kind of just being BFFs with everyone, if she can manage it.
Yeah. I definitely prefer that to them being, them hating each other or fighting over Sonic. That's, no. How about instead of just fighting over Sonic, they just forget Sonic and go off together on their merry way? That's fine. That's better. Why is it always like that? The good old love triangle trope. It's always like the two people who are fighting for the affections of the third would probably just be better served going off on their own somewhere with each other.
That, and usually those types of stories have some kind of resolution instead of we are going to perpetuate this forever and ever and ever.
It's a good point. It's like what happened in Legend of Korra. That's good. That's good right there. That's fine. Scurvy Piratehog has a question. So I was rereading some of the Archie Sonic comics, and I noticed something. In the pre-reboot, Snively Robotnik is very insecure and protective of his last remaining 6 hairs, up to the point he has them tracked and is using an why can't I say this word? Up to the point he has them tracked and is using an egg lobster mech in order to get his 6 hairs back from Shadow. But in the reboot, Julian Snively doesn't seem to have this issue, as when we see him working for Gunn, and as we see him with a full-on beard, his head is completely bald. This seems to suggest that not only do the two Snivelies have different names and different relations to Eggman, as reboot Snively isn't related to him, but that they also have slightly different personalities. So I'm curious, how different are pre-reboot and post-reboot Snively from each other? Personality-wise, opinions on Eggman, etc., 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 etc.
At their core, I was envisioning them to be basically the same. They are weak-willed, navel-gazing, small men with delusions of grandeur, and are overshadowed by Eggman's just overpowering presence. The difference being that Snively Robotnik kind of grew up with Eggman, to a degree. They were cohorts for a long time, and he suffered a great deal of firsthand abuse that defined his character and his rebellion and his moral wishy-washiness. Julian Snively, I was thinking of as someone who was a co-conspirator and co-worker with Eggman for a bit. I was going to try to sneak in there that Ivo Robotnik, before he took on the Eggman moniker, was a gun researcher, and that he and Dr. Snively had worked together for a bit. Lost Hedgehog Tales preview. There you go. But Snively, in that scenario, had been a solo operator for a long time, and he was entrenched in his position as the head of Guns R&D, so he didn't have quite the browbeaten personality that pre-reboot Snively did, and would have a degree of confidence and a sense of invulnerability that the oft-abused pre-reboot Snively did. But they were both cowards. They were both self-serving little worms. And had we had time to see more of Gun Snively, we would have seen more of the parallels between the two of them.
Alrighty. Next question is from Digamma. What are the production lead times for various states of production, writing, art, colors, letters, 100% finish for Tales of Aether compared to your average industry comic? I get the impression it's a bit longer than usual, which is probably a good thing considering how down to the wire production lead times can be in the wider industry.
It's kind of hard to say because nothing went according to plan.
Uh-oh.
The team involved, Jack, and Matt, were just phenomenal to work with. They nailed every nebulous deadline we came up with and turned in just marvelous work. No problems there production-wise. They were all consummate professionals, and it was great. Most of the hiccups just came from this being the first time I was ever truly editing and constructing a book, and that nobody else in Aether Studio had done this kind of work before. So it was all a learning experience for all of us. And we aimed to have things done up to a point when we were looking for potential publishers and thought, once we've got things rolling, we'll court these publishers and be able to meet a certain deadline from there. And that didn't work out. So when we went with Comixology does not give you any control over when your book is out. You submit it, and if they approve it, they set the release date. And they tell you when it's going to be released, and you work with that. So number one caught us by surprise. Number two, I believe, will be a month later, one hopes. I think we're still waiting for word from them on that. And we'll just see how it goes from there. So it's hard to say what the timeline was because it is constantly shifting and out of our control to a degree. That and, with a regular publication or anything else I've worked on, they already have kind of a set schedule that we're aiming for. Whereas we tried to do a lot of the work beforehand, before we set a deadline for ourselves that we would have to meet. Try to do as much work ahead of time so we weren't scrambling and reducing the quality of the product. So it's hard to say. I don't think there was a timeline. It was just get it done and get it done right.
Right. How many issues are you planning for currently?
The Future Imperfect storyline will go for 4 issues, and depending on how well it performs and some other factors, we have another 4-issue arc planned. But if Tales of Aether 1 through 4 doesn't do well enough to justify costs, we might have to adjust our plans. I don't know. We'll see. But if you want to support me, if you want to support the Aether Studio guys, who are a swell group of folks, if you want just a fun anthro book, go over to Comixology.com and look up Tales of Aether. That's, Tales, Tales, and Aether, Aether, and give it a read. Throw a few bucks our way and help the book perform.
Yeah, go check it out. Do it. Let's get into this question here from King Toasty. It occurred to me that the Rogues Gallery in the mainline Sonic titles is quite small. If you could both choose a single villain to join or rejoin the games as a recurring character, who would it be? This is assuming you can pull from any continuity, regardless of legality.
I'd kind of like it if we could bring back Infinite and do something interesting with him.
Yeah.
Depower him a little bit since he's kind of broken, but do something with him other than you are weak. Oh no, I'm weak. Screw that, you're weak. Now I'm dead, maybe.
Yeah, I guess. Sure.
I mean, as popular as Dr. Starline is, Rough and Tumble were built to be mini bosses.
Right.
I mean, they're goofy henchmen. They are meant to be.
Yeah.
Beat 'em ups.
And together. They go together. You can't have one without the other. They're like Bebop and Rocksteady.
They are a unit.
Yes, they are Bebop and Rocksteady. You cannot separate them.
Rough and Tumble is the character.
Essentially, yes.
I guess comic-wise, I'd like to give Eclipse another round.
Mm-hmm.
With or without the Dark Arms, I could work, but I liked Eclipse. I don't know if I'd be able to do what I want to do with him, but if we're ignoring any restrictions of reality, bring back Eclipse. We need our Liquid Snake to shadow Solid Snake.
I think a villain like Breezy would be a very different character to have in a Sonic game. A bit of a departure. She's not. Is she really a villain? I mean, she's kind of rides that line, I suppose.
Self-serving more than anything. Like if the scenario arose, she would help the heroes out.
Right,
and
that's true.
If in that scenario suddenly it would behoove her to serve Eggman, she would turn on a dime and profit off of it. But
right, that's. But I think you could have some fun with that, and that would be a very. It would be a different. Should be a different type of character, I think, compared to the usual cadre of villains that we've seen before. So that could be fun. RedScarfUK has a question. Well, we've finally seen some news from Sega about Sonic stuff, and while it wasn't tons, there's a decent amount to talk about. So, Ian and Kyle, what do you think were the highlights and lowlights of the first Sonic Central presentation?
I thought it was kind of funny just how low-key they did the Minecraft reveal.
Yeah.
Like everyone's going, oh, Sonic Zap! And it's like, did nobody see the chicken? It was right there. Come on, guys. Like, are we going to have functioning loop-de-loops? Like, can you hop in a minecart and it'll go woo-woo? Like, how robust is this going to be?
We need that. That would be pretty cool. That should be a thing.
Tell me these things.
Tell me.
Also, I forgot the name of the other game that Sonic the Fighters is kind of Easter egging its way into, but is this like the original arcade game, or is this like the Xbox Live version where you can unlock Eggman, Metal, and Honey?
Lost Judgment.
Because if we can't get the whole package of the improved version, then what's the point? Come on.
Yeah. Well, the Xbox 360 version is at least backwards compatible with newer consoles, newer Xbox consoles. So there's that. So you can still play it, but it's like it's gonna be interesting. So Sonic Colors, cool. How much new content is there going to be? It's a very short game. There's not much to it. Having played through it recently, it was not long at all. So I don't know how much they're adding. Hopefully a decent amount of content. What else? What else was there, Ian? The collection of the retro collection.
Mm-hmm.
Looks good. I mean, Sonic 3 and Knuckles finally getting the Christian Whitehead treatment. Finally. Mm-hmm. So that's exciting. We don't know what's going to happen with the music on that one, but whatever, it's fine. Just hire T. Lopes to write some new songs. It'll be all good. Or have him do enhanced, better, improved versions of the prototype tracks. Sure, why not? Do that. Or, just get the freaking music in there. It's not like you guys haven't sold Sonic 3 and Knuckles before multiple times. I don't understand what this legal issue is, if any. I don't know. It's weird, Ian. I don't understand. Do you understand? I don't understand.
I'm staying very quiet.
Okay. You know something. You have a knowing smile. I know it. I can smell it.
I have a hashtag knowing smile you could see from orbit.
I can smell it from here. Don't ask how I can smell your smile, but I can. Here's a question from Noni. I have a small question. Very small. Why didn't Eggman just ask one of the roboticized Knothole residents where Knothole was?
Mm-hmm.
What? Plot holes in Sonic? No, never.
Yeah, Noni, you cracked the entire narrative. I remember that question coming up way back in the day, in the old days, in the Sat AM days, in the heck pre-bowlers days.
Mm.
And there is no good answer. There's literally no reason. So yeah, it never got brought up.
Nope.
Thank heavens I inherited the book after that was moot, because that's the exact type of question I would have wanted to try to tackle, and there's no answer.
It's fine. This is it literally never thought about it. Eggman does not think in simple terms. I guess that's the moral of the story. You just like if there's an easy route, he will not take it. That's it. Here's a question from Andrew D. How do you decide how or when to kill off a character? Are you worried that after killing them off, you might regret no longer being able to use them? How do you ensure that their death is written as perfectly as can be? And have you ever decided last minute not to kill off a character that you originally intended to kill off? Note, this isn't for any specific series, but for writing stories in general. However, feel free to use any series you've worked on as examples.
Speaking broadly, the question is, what is the point? Which is kind of the question for any development you do for the character, but what is killing off that character going to do for them, for the characters around them, and for your narrative? Let's look at Chrono Cross, for example, and killing off Chrono. That was huge. That was just staggering, because you didn't lose your main character in any game up to that point. And the fact that you have the option of bringing him back is a huge driving force for the cast. It gives you this sense of nothing is sacred and anything can happen. It plays with the typical tropes of RPGs up until that point and turns it on its head. It does a great deal to bring discomfort to the player and give them a sense of wonder, not necessarily in the awe-inspired sort of way, but in the, geez, what can happen? What will happen? Who, do I need to play more cautiously? Do I need to invest more time with these characters? Because who knows when I will lose them? So, and when you do this, you often run the risk of fridging the character, a term coined after the unceremonious death of a supporting character in one of the DC books. And honestly, I can't remember who it was now, because there have been so many significant others killed to advance the character. Yeah. It was either Flash or Green Lantern. The fact that I can't remember distinctly is part of the problem. Is that if you use it for shock value, like, oh no, this character is dead, and that's the shock, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't do anything. In Chrono's case, the characters reacted to it. It influenced some of their interactions and unlocked an entire subplot for you to pursue and affected how you played the game, because even when you get him back, you have the choice of not including him. That changes the way you perceive the medium and handle it. In the DC case, I don't know if the character got revived or retconned or what. It doesn't matter. It didn't have any long-lasting effects on the character aside from some angst. And do they grow stronger from it? Well, if it was a Green Lantern, the entire point is he's got incredible willpower. Does it test? How does that test him? It just it's what does it do for the characters, and you have to be ready to see it through to the end. Death is a major change for those who have lost someone, and if it's just they pick up and they move on in 3 issues, you've done a disservice to the characters, and both living and dead, and not done anything with it. And it also depends on the matter of the death. Like, do you want to have the villain get their comeuppance? Do they have a very cathartic death for the reader? Something ironic, something disheartening? Do you want to have it? There's so many different scenarios you could go with. I want to bring up the Dark Tower series. One of the reoccurring spoiler warning, I guess I should throw in there. One of the major antagonists throughout the book dies a very cheap death to a new villain. And I didn't like it because I was a big fan of that villain, and to see them just get offed without having done anything of great significance after a certain point was not really satisfying. But this was supposed to be the big bad. This was supposed to be kind of the culmination of bad things. So, okay, sure, that makes sense. We're moving forward. But then that new villain died in an even more pathetic sort of way. And I got that the point was supposed to be that they really were a pathetic creature to begin with, that for all the hype built up around them, they were really just a poor excuse for a living thing. So, here is their ignoble death. And that in itself is kind of satisfying. But for all the buildup, for all the hype, for all that it was supposed to be, just to have it kind of at the end was not very satisfying.
Sure.
Going into Sonic stuff, because I know there's 2 things that Sonic fans immediately have come to mind. Killing off Tommy was a no-brainer. Nobody liked Tommy at all because he was obnoxious in every possible way, except for his original debut, and everything after that just kind of tarnished it. So giving him this heroic out, basically, when you get down to it, retold his first story. Here's Tommy. He's making the sacrifice play. He saved Sonic. It's the same beats. It's just that's where it should have ended the first time. So here we are, rounding it out, and now it becomes like a bookend. It's like poetry. It rhymes. So that was the no-brainer. That was easy. And unfortunately, I did a little too good of a job because some people were like, wait, bring him back. He's actually cool again. It's like, no. Did you not learn your lesson? We killed him for a reason. To a lesser degree, Sir Connery. He was a nobody. He was only like the super turbo Sonic nerds knew who he was or even cared. Having him die in a glorious, heroic fashion was probably more than the character deserved. But it moved the plot along. It removed some of the magical MacGuffins from the mix. And he went out like a champ. So, it served a purpose narratively. Nothing of great value was lost. So the characters didn't have a need to dwell on it too much. And we were able to roll along. Now with Antoine, when he got kerblowed up good, he was supposed to die. That was the original intention. And there was a long-term plan to bring him back. It wasn't going to be an easy quest. It was going to take all of the Freedom Fighters to do it. I'll cover it in Lost Hedgehog Tales when I can finally get the clearance to do it. But it was supposed to be, if you're going to bring a character back from the dead, it needs to be something grand. It needs to be an epic quest. It needs to take a great deal of effort and heart and love and soul to make it happen. And that was the plan. But people were so reactive to Sally just getting roboticized that we realized, ooh, actually pulling the trigger and finishing off Antoine is going to break the fandom. It's too much. They can't handle that much heartbreak. So we dialed it back to just a simple naming. And ultimately, we would have been able to follow the same course to bring Antoine back into the fold. But it was one of those cases where it's like, okay, what we want to do with the story isn't going to work. We can tell that because of the feedback. It's going to take it in a direction that just isn't going to work for everybody, for the majority of people. So let's walk it back a little bit. And because of the ending, the way it was, we were able to walk it back without it being a sloppy retcon. You know, we never actually straight out said he was dead. So we have that little bit of an out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was just an internal thing of, oh, maybe let's not go that far. So to get back to the core of the question, when, how, why to kill a character, the question is, what are you doing with it? You know, if it's a nobody character to just, you know, clean the slate a little bit, is it going to serve any purpose? Can they just not come back anymore? If it's the villain, if it's the hero, you know, what is the scenario? What is it going to do for your story? And what is it going to do to the characters around them? And as long as you see it through, as long as it's got some kind of satisfying impact, whether it's now or later, then you're doing all right. But it takes a lot of thought and a lot of planning and a lot of scrutiny to make sure that you're doing it right.
Nice. I have one small thing to mention, Ian. One small correction.
Oh, okay.
You're thinking of Chrono Trigger, not Chrono Cross.
Dadgummit!
Yes. Chrono Cross, that's a PlayStation game that takes place like what? 1,000 years in the future from the original game or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's something like that. It's not quite it's a sequel, but you know, it's not entirely it's weird. It's a weird
Scrap
game.
the episode, starting over.
Yeah, pretty much. No. It's just like, wait a minute. Is Chrono even in Chrono Cross? I don't even know. I barely know. I just know I haven't even played Chrono Trigger. I just know most of the story because I've seen a lot of it played.
Games.
I've seen a lot of it played. So I know there's a point.
Been a long time since I played Chrono Trigger.
Yeah. Let's move on to this question here from Afro Luffy X. As far as I remember, you said that Scourge is a coward at heart, and he wants justification for his actions. Can you elaborate on the idea of Scourge's character?
Well, insofar as, sure, he does big, bold, awful things, but they're to be big, bold, awful things. He doesn't do it out of any particular focused malice most of the time. It's just to feed into the ego and his own self-image. He's so uncomfortable with the idea of who and what he is. He's always doing terrible things trying to define who he is. And it doesn't have the courage of thinking, okay, maybe I can redefine myself or do something else. It is, this is what I am, and I'm just going to be a snot because that's what people expect of me, and I'm not going to try to be better or improve. Or, oh no, someone called me out on my bullcrap, you know, and I can't beat them up in this shallow sense of superiority. I'm going to crumple. He's just an awful, petty, hollow individual. He's a coward. He is the antithesis of Sonic.
And he's another one of those characters who would say, "This is who I am," you know, like Shadow.
Yeah, and even then, I think it would be with less conviction.
Yeah, pretty much. Here's a question from TK. Looking back at Archie, the comics put a lot of emphasis on pairings. Antoine and Bunny getting married, Rouge and Julie literally fighting over Knuckles, everything with Scourge, and of course, Sonic and Amy, Sally, Mina, those screaming fangirls from issue 111, Bunny, Fiona, etc. Tails, on the other hand, got dragged through the mud pretty badly in that department. Between the alternate universe marriage to Mina in Mobius X years later, yet how in the real universe she was smitten with Ash, and Sonic and her and Tails don't say a word in edgewise to each other. And the whole humiliating ordeal with Fiona. Maybe that can be put down to the abrupt reboot, but Tails has just kind of hung out to dry for the rest of the series. Were there ever any plans to pair Tails up with someone who likes him back after Fiona? Or was love just never in the cards for Foxboy?
I've said it before and I'll say it again. He's 8.
Yeah.
He's a child. There's, infatuation. There's puppy love, sure. But getting into like serious romantic relationships at 8 is creepy.
I mean, doing it at 15 is a little weird, but no one acts their age, so
no. And I understand that Tails certainly acts more mature than his age, and you see that's where I get really iffy is when you start saying, well, they don't act their age, and it's like now you're making excuses to treat underage characters more maturely than they actually are. Like in Mobius, whatever years later, that's different. He's been aged up. He's, well into adulthood. And for whatever reason, he and Mina are together. Sure, fine, whatever. Their paths took them in new directions. It didn't make any sense from the context of the main series, but, work with what you got. But that's different. Those are consenting adult characters who have made their choices. When you've got characters like Cream and Tails who are children, it gets a little creepy. I understand the aspirations of wanting him to grow up and find love and happiness and yada, yada, yada. I was 8 once too. I remember that. I grew up very, very fixated on the idea of this is the happily ever after that you pursue. This is what all of life is built around. And wanting that for one of your favorite characters, there's nothing wrong with that. It's when you get into the stuff like Fiona, who was like at least double his age, should have come around and seen him for the man he would be and wait like 10 years for him. It's like, no. You not only is that gross, but you're robbing Fiona of all agency as an individual. And just, the mental gymnastics there are no bueno.
Yeah.
If Tails or Cream or any of the, I guess, Charmy at this point, were like comparable to Sonic and crew in age, it'd be a completely different story. I mean, the fact that Amy is 12 is already a little kind of skeevy, and we're just gonna kind of ignore that in that she's at least a teen and she acts well beyond her years, and most of her art portrays her as someone who doesn't look 12. But it's still kind of like something you don't want to look too hard at. And when you get down to characters like Tails and Cream and the other children, turning a blind eye to that is just not acceptable. Just no. Icky, gross. Just, no, we're not doing it.
Yeah. I get maybe this is not something I should bring up considering she wasn't listed, but the whole thing with Barbie and Tails that was. Yeah.
See, I remember back then folks called that out too. I'm going, whoa, no, Barbie, no, what are you doing? No bueno. Not so hot.
Yeah.
And then there's what's your name out of Boom?
Zoe,
thank you. See, that's different in that, number one, I don't think anyone had set ages in Boom. I think it was just kind of treated as nebulous. They're teen-ish. Tails is probably younger, sure. But they didn't have definitive ages from what I understand. And the relationship with Zoe was barely addressed and was more of a kind of puppy love, bat your eyes at each other. I think Zoe's age wasn't even established. So you could argue she was something closer to Tails. And that's more of a kind of first love, flirtatious, nothing like solid romantically defined. It's just kind of a crush type of thing. And it's not really played as a serious, they're going to get married and have foxes type of thing. It's your very basic sitcom humor, crush level thing. It's treated much more flippantly and humorously. That is worlds apart from the narrative driven stories that the comics and games have had. So,
right. And then
yes, there's Cosmo as well, but number one, Cosmo's a plant.
So,
and number two, again, that was more of a romantic relationship, first crush type of thing. It's not like Tales going after a teenager or people expecting a teenager to have affections for a child. And did Cosmo actually have an age?
I don't know.
I don't.
All I know is that in Sonic Boom they did it again though, because they had Percy get flirty with Tails like once or twice. It's like
to get to the point. No, I didn't have plans of pairing Tails with anyone in the main continuity because he's a child, and unfortunately, because at that point the very idea that well had been poisoned sufficiently. So, better to just not even go there.
Yeah. Here's a question from Blue Titled Gamer to both of you. If you could only take one book with you on a desert island, what genre of book would it be to help you cope with being deserted? I don't know, man. Some kind of graphic novel omnibus, I guess. I don't know what.
Can I take a survival guide?
Or the Junior Woodchuck guide.
Let's see. If it's a deserted island, we're probably somewhere out in the Pacific. Can I get a cookbook devoted to fish of the tropics?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Or can you just give me some super creepy, like Stephen King book so that like 3 nights in, I've already become so paranoid that I go crazy and I don't have to worry about anything anymore because I'm out of my mind.
Exactly. Fix that problem right up. That's all we need. Got to fix that problem right up. I don't know.
I can't take any book for actual entertainment because I pick everything apart now. The structure of this is a little lacking, and the plot progression could have been better here. What's the character motivation? I can't enjoy things anymore, Kyle. It sucks.
I know. Even I am too aware of everything. I don't write it much of anything, but I'm like, I'm still too aware of stuff now that it's like, I don't know. Oh well, I'll still do it. I'll still read it. I'll go be on a deserted island somewhere. Why not? As long as it's less hot than it is here. That would be good. That would be good. I'm okay with that. I like being alone anyway, so screw all y'all. Scruffy Matt has a question. So, Ian, when is the Sonic commercial starring you going to be released? Is it today? It's going to be today, right?
No, see, when you have people in a commercial, you want them to be appealing to sell your product.
Uh-huh.
You don't want this moldy potato on your screen saying, "Here, I endorse this product." Oh, no. You don't want that thing.
Uh-huh. Sure. You're fine. If you want to think you're not appealing, fine. Whatever. They'll do anything, man. They can make it work. You should be in a Sonic commercial. It could be Sonic and Ian. It's Ian's day with Sonic, and yeah, I don't know. Stuff happens. Here's a question from Off for Ian and Kyle. How have y'all been lately? No one ever seems to ask.
Yeah, Kyle, how have you been lately?
I mean, I'm fine. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that's wrong or bad. So I'm good. I'm feeling good on a Saturday that we're recording this, or on a Monday that you're listening to this, or whatever day you're listening to this. It doesn't matter. I'm feeling pretty good. How are you feeling, Ian?
I'm excited. We got a lot going on the week that you're listening to this, and just recently signed on as narrative director of a new video game. Touching on themes and tropes and aesthetics that I've wanted to do for a long time. So it's like, ooh, yay. So now I feel good. I'm doing all right.
What is this? What is this more knowing smile stuff you're revealing
Yet
here?
another knowing smile.
What is this? Is this an established property? Is this a new property? Can you even say that much?
Brand new. It's inspired by things that we love, but it's brand new.
Okay. Is it indie? Is it a big publisher? Can you reveal that? It's indie.
It's
okay.
Indie.
Okay.
They've got at least one game under the belt. I need to look at their full dossier, to be honest. But they've published some stuff. and this is going to be a new IP for them. And they were looking for artists of a particular type, and I knew a few that would fit the bill. And while I was tossing names at them, I said, I know how to write this type of thing if you're looking for a writer, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, actually, yeah, we were going to see if you were free. So you want to do it? I'm like, hell yeah. So I'm going to do it.
Anything else you can reveal? Can you reveal who it is?
Oh, no.
Who it's for? No? Okay.
It's way too soon. Too soon.
Darn. Oh well. I tried, guys. I tried. But we'll figure it out. Maybe you can figure it out while we take a break. We're going to take a little break here on the BumbleKast, and then we'll be right back on the BumbleKast. And it's time to get into the standard Q&A. Here's one from Tick. What exactly does the Master Emerald do? Does it still cause the island to float? If not, what makes the island float nowadays? If it does nothing, why does Knuckles guard it?
Here's the thing. I've gotten multiple answers over the years. So, as far as I am aware, it still keeps the island afloat, and it has the ability to neutralize the Chaos Emeralds. And that's what I'm working under.
Okay. So how did Metal Sonic use it to power up in the first IDW arc? Okay. We don't think about it too hard. It wasn't explicitly said that's what he was doing with it, so you're just kind of glossing over that? Okay. Got it.
Kyle?
Yes.
You remember how they specifically used it in SA2 to neutralize the emeralds?
Yes.
A note I got back says they can't do that. I've been told that it has no power. I've been told that it has lots of powers. It just does.
Hey,
you know how
you guys think that Sonic has this huge overarching narrative, and there was this plan from the beginning all set out for it to be this way and that way. No, they're just making this shit up as they go along.
You know how Mecha Sonic charged up in the one game, and we had Neo Metal do it in the comics?
Yes.
Apparently that's because they're robot Sonics. Other robots can't do that.
Okay.
Because I got a note on the story. Can't do that. So we'll see how long that lasts.
Don't think about it too hard, guys, because clearly Sega's not. Oh boy, this is going to be one. This
need to stop putting out these passive aggressive tidbits.
This is going to be
in trouble eventually.
Yeah, well, this is going to be another one of those episodes where people are like, "What the?" Oh well, whatever gets people listening. Here's a question from Dove. If I remember, the canonical reason Mega Man didn't hold on to abilities from adventure to adventure was something about them overloading his systems if kept too long. Ian, my man, what would you say is the reason? Also, with his advanced systems, why wouldn't X be able to keep them?
It's been so long since I did my research, Dove, but I think you're right. That sounds familiar.
Yes, I do believe that is what's supposed to be the case.
And the reason that we used in the comics, and this applies to X as well, is that they don't want to hold on to the weapons. They are not warriors at heart. They are pacifists. And they don't want to carry around flamethrowers and missiles and exploding shields and what have you. They take on the armaments that they need to fight for everlasting peace. But once the battle is done, they're ready to put those tools away. And I guess you just can't copy paste the weapon data into a separate folder.
Nope. Of course not.
It's like trying to move folders in between Google Drive accounts. You can't do it. And you gotta download the whole thing and then upload the whole thing. And what's the point? You might as well just rebuild it from scratch. And no, I didn't do that recently. Why do you ask?
PC the Unicorn is here with a question. Ian, exactly how much free will does Metal Sonic have in the IDW continuity? Even after being restored and returned to his original form, He chooses to go back to Eggman, with Eggman saying it's because of his programming. But how much of that is actually true? As the story in the IDW Sonic 2020 annual showed, Metal does things by himself when he isn't being ordered by Eggman, demonstrates clear anger over losing to Sonic again while watching the video, decides to dip his hand in the metal virus of his own fruition, and even showed hesitation of dipping his finger into the virus. I think he meant volition instead of fruition, but sure.
Yeah,
whatever. It's a minor thing.
That doesn't contradict him being programmed to serve Eggman. He is autonomous in that he can do other things. He can approach issues in his own way, but ultimately he serves Eggman. He is hard-coded to always return and work for Eggman. How he goes about doing that is entirely up to him. And I love the bit in the 2020 story where, the whole thing is him comparing himself to Sonic, because that's what he does. That is his fixation, is that he wants to be the one true Sonic. And here you have Sonic succumbing to the virus. And then when he tries to infect himself to prove that, sure, he is Sonic, he can't be infected. Which that right there shows he's not the one true Sonic, and it drives him crazy. And they don't explicitly spell it out. It's all just very contextually given. And I love that visual storytelling. Oh, I love that story. It's such a fantastic story. Oh, I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. That was a good annual. That was good stuff. But that one, I think that might be my favorite one out of that annual. That just good stuff. Good. I love it when someone writes a Sonic book, and I'm like, oh, why didn't I think of that? That's genius. That's great. I love it.
Delicious. Yes, that's like M. Bison in the Street Fighter cartoon. This is delicious. It is very delicious.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay, good. Here's Godzilla with a question. Ian, say we're the commissioner of the SSWF, Supersonic Wrestling Federation. Who would be your headliner for Sonic WrestleMania? Thrash El Diablo versus Macho Echidna Knuckles? The Diva Royal Rumble of Amy Rose and La Fuego Gato, or aka Blaze, versus Princess Sally and Nicole? Or the triumphant return of El Gran Gordo versus the worldwide phenomenon that is Sonic Mania? And does Omega come in with the chair?
I mean, you pretty much written the entire show right there.
I mean, yeah. It's like, come on, dude. Fan ideas, come on. You've booked it.
Now, the real question is Sonic Mania Sonic, or is it Sonic Man? Because personally, I want it to be Sonic Man with the little helmet and everything.
Oh,
comes in the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Does a somersault off the top rope. But nothing can stand against the machoest demands. The most frijoly of the frijolases. The most guapo macho man to ever enter the square circle. We're talking about El Gran Gordo. With his flying gordito smasher. And he would take Sonic Man apart piece by piece. And then Omega jumps into the ring and very, very stiffly hits him with the folding chair. And looks very confused because that wasn't nearly as satisfying as he thought it would be. And then proceeds to just like destroy him with said chair. And then security has to run in and you got to cut to commercial and everyone's mad because now they want refunds in their pay-per-view. But up to that point, it's glorious.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, I like it. Piggy Bank has a question. In the rise of Infinite digital comic, Infinite has a really cool red sword. Assuming you can talk about it, did the really cool sword have any other attributes to it beyond looking cool and being able to slice and dice robots? Or was it at the time only a very sharp sword?
I don't know. He had a sword. that was the when I was given the plot to turn into a script. It's like Infinite uses his sword. And I'm like, okay, what kind of sword? Is it a scimitar? Is it a broadsword? What is it? Okay, I'll make it just a fun cameo and give him the samurai sword out of Shadow the Hedgehog. That'll be a nice Easter egg. And then I got the note back. No. He has a very specific sword. Here's the art for it. It's like, okay, he has a sword. Does it show up in the game? No. Okay. Is it referenced anywhere else? No. Okay. So yeah, he had a sword.
Why would it be in the game? I mean, why? Why bother? Why bother?
What if he had
Why
like a bunch
bother?
of phantom blades that he summoned to hurl at you? At least that would be a callback.
Why establish? Why establish anything, Ian? Why establish anything? Why bother? Just
maybe that's the angle on Infinite. Like he comes back with the sword, but it's the thing infused with the Phantom Ruby power, and if you get hit by it, you get like thrown into the trippy Phantom dimension or something. You know,
you're putting a lot more thought into this than Sega ever will.
It's my job, Kyle. It's my career.
I understand that. But man, there's got to be a point where you're just like, okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I find myself conceding a lot easier these days.
You just gotta go with it, man. You just gotta roll with it. Otherwise, you're just gonna like freaking crumple into dust. It's just you either roll with the punches, or you're going to end up in the corner, curled up in the fetal position, crying because you cannot reconcile all of this garbage that's being foisted upon you. You just cannot.
Well,
no.
You can't make the crazy money because there's no money on Sonic's World.
Unless you're Vector.
Well, yeah, they're poor.
Yeah,
because they have no money. Nobody has money.
Unless you're the Chaotix, you can't make money.
Don't ask what Eggman's going to pay them with at the end of Heroes, because there's no money. That's why they're poor, because they have no money. They never turn down work that pays. What does it pay? Who knows? But it ain't money.
It's going to pay them an exposure. What kind of exposure? I don't know. Oh, wow. Okay, this is yeah. Oh no. Yes, we have devolved into whatever this is, whatever this mess is. And we still have one question left.
Let's do it.
Here's this question from Mike B to close us out. Shower like serve bots, right? Would they prefer spaghetti or curry rice? Or whatever the heck A, B, C, or D lunges are supposed to be?
I wish I could roll with the joke, but I literally know nothing about serve bots other than they're the little Lego things out of Mega Man Legends, and
that's yeah. And I have completely forgotten like the A, B, C, or D lunches.
Like, is that from Tronbon's game specifically?
I don't know for sure. I played okay, yeah. I'm getting confirmation that yes, it is. I only played the first Legends game, so that's the only.
Did I just lose all my Mega Man cred by calling her Tronbon? Is it Trombone?
I think it's Bon.
Bon?
I've always heard it as Bon.
Okay.
Bone is weird. That's something else.
Well, that kind of sounds like trombone and musical.
Maybe, I guess that's true.
I don't think anybody else has that in the past. I don't know. I know very, very little about the Mega Man Legends series.
I like the first game. It's fun, but it's been forever since I played it. So, and I've not played any beyond that. Even though I should play Tronbon. Tronbon sounds better. It has that nice
it does.
alliteration sound. It's not alliteration, it's the sound thing that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head. But yeah, it sounds good. It sounds better. But anyway.
You know, it also sounds good.
The end of the show.
I was thinking there's a long list of people who make this show possible by being patrons or supporters over at KoFi.com.
Oh.
Big thank you to Daniel H., Alex P., James K., John B., Jennifer R., Samuel P., Robotnik Holmes, Sam Cybercat, Mike B., Justin G., Torchbound, Coupling Crew 128, Doiz Dizdin, Diane W., Scruffy Matt, Andrew D., Chris A., John M., Sonny, Don B., Yami M., Lee HK, Sin Fritz, Lisa M., Salute Cat, Chevelle, Silly String, Noni, Bradley TT, Off, Dave M., Blue Title Gamer, Justin S., Tick Tick, Paps, J. Frost, Final Neil, Digamma F., Wow, Jib, Jonathan D., Hero of Light 13, Rachel W., Godzilla, Chaos Universe, Sonic Legacy, PC the Unicorn, Piggy Bank, Daniel B, Dadler the Dalek, Preston M, Dove, ONBD, Jonathan W, Red the Super Namek, Ryan D, Flixie, Sapphire Scarletta, Chase L, Joe S, Turbo, Red Wolf, Fernando G, Crooker, TK, Jonathan R, Chad, Les, Speedweed, Scurvy, Piratehog, King Toasty, and Afro Luffy X.
Very nice. Very nice. I'm being asked, did I forget the term rhyme? And maybe. You don't know. You don't know what I forgot. I forget everything. I forget a lot of stuff, dude. That's my special power, is forgetting.
Did you forget where people can find you on the internet?
Maybe. Did you forget where people can find you?
I asked you first.
Oh, okay, fine. We'll switch it up this time. You can find me on Twitter at KyleJCRB. You can also head on over to kngi.org. That's where you can find all the archived episodes of the BumbleKast and my other show, Nitro Game Injection. You can listen to that one streaming live on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time as well over there. And if you enjoy video game music remixes, arrangements, covers, and all that fun stuff, be sure to check it out. What about you, Ian?
You can find me on Twitter at IanFlynnBKC, my personal website, BumbleKing.com. That's where the Bumble Comic Shop is, where you can get crazy discounts. Remember, the birthday code today is birthday2021 to get at least 20% off your order. That's the whole order. It doesn't even matter what book it is. And remember, all books purchased from the Bumble Comic Shop are signed by me, and they are priced as I would at conventions. Are you looking for one of those rare covers and you don't want to pay $600 to the scalpers on eBay? I have it for $3 over the Bumble Comic Shop. Maybe. Supplies are limited. Also, check out my original series, Drogoon.com. That's DROGUNE.com. Drawn by the amazingly talented Adam Bryce Thomas. We're still on a bit of a hiatus as he adjusts to his move, but we should be getting up and rolling again before the summer's out, hopefully.
Nice. Don't forget to check out the show on Twitter at BumbleKast. Email us at bumblecast@yahoo.com or listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, our YouTube channel, and of course over at kngi.org.
You can also support the show by going over to the Bumble Store. That's shop.spreadshirt.com/Bumble Store, where you can get any number of clothing or household items with various BumbleKast-related insignias and artwork plastered upon them. I'm very happy to say that a few people called our bluff and did get Knowing Smile masks, and that just makes me happy.
Yes, get that Knowing Smile propaganda. Yes, do it. Do it now. And while you're wearing your Knowing Smile face masks, you can join in on the BumbleKast Gaming live streams on YouTube. That's at youtube.com/BumbleKingVideos on Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on Twitter for announcements at other times as well, because sometimes there's an extra bonus time, or sometimes we have to cancel. It can go either way, but we do our best. We try. So bear with us, and enjoy when we do get to stream eventually.
That's going to wrap us up for today's BumbleKast. We'll see you Wednesday for even more BumbleKasty goodness, and then Saturday for the live stream over on YouTube at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there, and have a good one until then.
Yes, come with questions. I know you guys have a lot of questions. I know, because I've seen them. There's a lot. Come hang out with us and perhaps get your question asked and answered in the same day. Wow, it's amazing. All right, we're done. Hold on. Sorry, I had to sneeze.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Did you hear me sneeze?
I did not.
Okay, good. Because I hit the mute button. Figured you didn't want to hear that. Blessed me, Scruffy? Why you bless me? Don't bless me. I have no reason to be blessed. Don't bless me. You should bless yourself or something. I don't know. Hashtag blessed. Okay then, curse you. Okay, good. Thanks, Scruffy. Thank you. Much appreciated. something.
I don't know if anybody saw, but certain parts of Toronto and the surrounding area got snow yesterday.
What? Snow?
Yeah.
Snow way.
Like, that's the reason I cut my hair, is that, it got hot. And when it gets hot up here, it gets hot. And
Yeah.
I was not going to have any of that. And then Mother Nature was like, LOL, nope. And did like a hard U-turn. Not like, crazy amounts of snow. We're not talking snow drifts, but a lot of people's gardens have been hurt severely by this betrayal.
Oops. Ian, exactly how much free will does Metal Sonic have in the IDW community? In the IDW community? Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. No.
You can also support the show. The shore.
Support the shore. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
You can find me on Twitter at ianflynn. Not .com.
ianflynn.com. Why don't you have that URL? You should.
I honestly should, because nobody knows what Bumble King is. Anyway.
Let's see. What is, let's see, ianflynn.com. That's probably someone else's website. It is.
Is there?
No, it is a, ianflynn.com looks like a Japanese gambling site. Or something. Very weird.
Yeah, okay.
Very weird. If you scroll down far enough, oh boy, okay, never mind. Don't scroll down all the way unless you want to. I mean, that's up to you.
Oh my, you get all sorts of content.
Yeah, things it changes a little bit.
I'm glad I have active virus protection on.